Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome to this week's energy forecast. It's our inaugural forecast for the week of March 14th. I was going to say Wednesday, but it's a Monday. I'm excited to be here with you today. And if you are not familiar with who I am, my name is Jennifer Longmore. I'm founder of Soul Journeys, which is the #1 Akashic Record training school in the world. We have trained over 100,000 souls in over 100 countries. And I used to channel every week for the latter part of, well, the greater part, I should say, of 2020. And I was really plugged into what was going on in the world because I was getting so many questions. And then it kind of takes a toll, right? When the only focus is on what's happening in the circus act. So I'm bringing this back, and you're welcome to post any questions that you have in the comments. This is not a personal forecast per se, but just the energy forecast for the week and how to prepare for it. So we're going to dive in. You may have been feeling like the energy is a little bit topsy-turvy in the world. I know that goes without saying, but there's this feeling of things being unsettled, right? Like there's a void that we're in, and there's a lot of wobbly bits. If you've ever been on a waterbed, it kind of feels like that, like you're secure enough, but the foundation's a little bit wobbly. And that's because there's a next level calibration coming in. So this is a week where you're going to notice that you're given opportunities to increase your boundaries if you haven't already done that. So part of being a 5D leader is making sure that we are a pristine channel for love and truth and the divine creative life force and whatever else you're bringing through you. And when our boundaries are a little bit leaky, it makes it a little more challenging, and we have to work a little bit harder, as you know, to increase our vital life force. So this is a week where if your boundaries aren't as tight as they need to be in order for you to move to the next level of your ascension journey, you're going to be given those opportunities. So just as a personal side note, I would highly recommend that you make that a priority this week, because as you know, we can either be nudged in the, flicked in the third eye, so to speak, to encourage us, or we can just proactively say, okay, where do I kind of know that I'm not being as solid with my boundaries as I could? It could be with family members, it could be with clients, it could be with ourselves, as far as honoring commitments that we're making to ourselves, things like that. Now, with an increase in boundaries comes an increase in discernment. One of the things that has been happening since 2020 in the 5D timeline community, I'll call it, people that are choosing the 5D timeline, is that people are so relieved that they're not the only one that can see what's going on, that they say, okay, well, you see what's going on, I see what's going on, I guess that means we're besties. And that's not entirely true, because we're not taking into consideration someone's character and whether they're truly operating in integrity and so on. So what's been happening since 2020, especially in the lightworker community, is there's been some trauma bonding. And in that trauma bonding, because of course we came into 2020 with unresolved unconscious trauma, and then 2020 was a lot of things, but one of the things it was traumatic, right? It was very disruptive with the whole shock and awe, military grade level of awakening, let's put it that way. And so we haven't been as discerning as we could be. So this is discerning of information. We're still going to be bombarded with a bunch of two truths and a lie and inversions and so on. We are living in an inverted world. And this is an opportunity to go, okay, well, this person and I are on the same page with some certain things. Now it's time for me to tune in and see, does this person have, is there a values alignment, and is there a character alignment such that it makes sense for us to deepen our connection, whatever that connection may be. And that comes from the biggest thing that we're being asked to do this week is lead from a place of wisdom, not lead from our wounds, not lead from knowledge, not lead from, any kind of energetic response to what's happening in the world, rising above it and leading from a place of wisdom. So leading ourselves first and foremost, and then leading others. I don't mean that others decide that we're leaders, just that, we want to show up in that modeling energy. So with all of these things, you're going to notice heightened intuition this week, more so than normal. There's just a lot of energies in the air that are making that really possible. So you're going to find with heightened intuition that it's going to be easier for you to make a ton more decisions than you typically are. But that, like I said, is going to require discernment, right? So if you're not trusting your decision making because in the past your discernment hasn't been fully turned on, I guess you could say, then what we do is we unconsciously decide that we're not trustworthy. And then even if our intuition is guiding us in a certain way, we may not be honoring that. So this is an opportunity to really honor the intuitive hits, to trust that if you're getting them, that there's a reason for that, and then acting on them very quickly. This is also, as I've kind of alluded to, the week to tie up any residual healing that has been in your face a little bit. There's a lot of stuff that's never in our face, right? It just comes up when it comes up. But there's some stuff that, it could be in your body. They were showing me a lot of body related issues, things that, like, for example, lower back pain. If you've ever had lower back pain, you know that over time you just start to adjust and you start to acclimate to it. And it's not until you go for a massage or acupuncture or chiropractor or whatever that you realize, oh my goodness, my lower back has been sore, and it's been sore for a while. But we start to blind ourselves to that because we focus on other things. So whatever chronic stuff may be happening in the body that you've known you needed to deal with, but you've maybe been putting off, or it kind of started hiding again on you, and so it didn't seem like that much of a priority, this is good for you to do that. Also, any emotional healing that may come up, particularly as it relates to authority. I'm sure that goes without saying with what's happening on the world stage. This is an opportunity to look at any energies that we have with authority. But really, this is an opportunity to heal the illusions. That's part of the ascension process. We ascend when we're also transmuting the density of the illusions, right? The balloon can only fly as high as the weighted brick on the ground is holding it down. So the more we can lighten that brick, the higher the helium balloon can fly, basically. So with this, we're going to be seeing, provided that we lean into all of these energies, you're going to notice that there's an increase in self-love. There's an increase in love in general. You're going to maybe see love in situations that before were kind of bumping up against your sensibilities. You're going to be loving yourself more and honoring yourself for this journey that you've chosen to take. As you know, we have all been coded for this time, meaning like we have our soul blueprint for our entire life. And then during this particular time in our journey, we are coded to play a very pivotal role in the Great Awakening. And for some of us, it's a slow burn. Every day we're showing up and doing something. And for others, it'll be just this one thing that you're strongly guided to do that, unravels things for a lot of people. So this is the self-love is going to allow you to really honor what you've been coded for and trust that you're being provided for. You're going to notice too, with this healing and releasing some density, that there's going to be an increase in flow. So the guides are very clear to focus on what you do want and what you do want to flow to you, because the flow is already turned on, especially if you really lean into some of these energies that I shared with you. As I mentioned, you're coded for this time this week, especially with heightened intuition and the removal of density that's keeping you from calibrating to your next level. You're going to become even more clear on what you're coded for during this time. So it's not really something that you can force. It's just something that you make yourself energetically available for. And the more that you set the intention to have more clarity, the easier it is to drop in for you. Now, you may alternately feel a push and pull with your mission. I'm seeing this with a lot of people. The guides are very clear that because of the wobble on, well, I'm calling it the world stage. It's not really what they call it. But because there's this wobbly waterbed sensation that I shared with you, you might feel a bit of a push and pull with your mission. Some of that is old trauma where we don't know if we're being provided for. We put ourselves out there and we get attacked. I mean, there's all kinds of things and energies from other lifetimes and various things like that. But if you're feeling a push and pull with it, then this is an opportunity to look at where you might be holding on to some illusions around what's expected of you? Are you doing this because you should do it, because it's a duty, because it's an obligation, which are all codes from an old world that we're collapsing, right? Those are all part of the sacrifice, suffering, savior paradigm that we're extracting ourselves from and moving into the truth of who we really are. So when you're aligned to your mission, it feels like it just is. It doesn't feel good or bad. It just is. It's just what we're being called to do. And the calling is so strong that it pulls you out of bed. So if you're having a push and pull, the guides were very clear that that is part of what we've talked about earlier, which is that we're clearing out illusions, we're healing some fiddly bits. We also are increasing boundaries. Let's be honest, when our boundaries are a little bit loosey-goosey, it's harder to feel supported. There's not as much water sort of contained in the bucket, right? And so when we're pushing and pulling, a lot of times it has to do with, do I feel supported? Do I feel held during this process? So again, this is an opportunity to look at, how can I be held? Is it in a group? Is it with a mentor? Do I have my own plan? Am I going to be meeting with my guidance council, so to speak, on a regular basis? What is it that's going to come in for you? So this isn't a week of a lot of, I'll say, clarity on the world stage. There's still a lot of bumps, right? There's a lot of speed bumps, but this is a week to really go inside. Each week that I come in here, sometimes it's going to be way more focused on how to respond to the world stage, and other times it's going to be, well, maybe a mixture. Today, the focus really is on taking advantage of leaning into yourself and looking at what needs to be healed, what needs to be tightened up. How can I be available for my intuition? How can I focus on pulling flow to me, and all of the things. So if this was helpful for you, give me a like, leave me a comment in the comment section. I will be hosting How to Decode the Matrix in order to outcreate it. It's going to be a private workshop. As you can imagine, I'm not going to be really publicly announcing that, but if that's something that's appealing to you, let me know in the comments, and we can get you some information when we have the page up and running. But in the meantime, if you would like to stay connected and we're not already connected, I would invite you to download my free gift called the Free Soul Acceleration System. So that's going to go deeper into the Akashic records. There's a guided meditation in there to take you into your records, the 9 most powerful questions to ask to get clear on your purpose. This may very well be the thing that helps you get more clear on what you're coded for during this time. If you go to souljourneys.ca, not .com.ca /soul, SOUL, you will get access to that, and then it'll automatically send you some emails and some training and so on. And you'll be in good company, one of literally hundreds of thousands of people that has downloaded that over the years. I'll also put that in the comment section. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now.